It's a question.
All right, here we go. And welcome back to the Hot Rod Lounge. This is episode 2, season 2. We've got a great show for you today. Just so you know, we're brought to you by Riverside Ford of Tulsa. Make sure that you know that Riverside is always by your side, and sponsored by Scotch Media Productions. So that's, they're there to help you with all this stuff. But I'm not even gonna lie. I'm actually really excited, and if you don't have our YouTube page, you need to actually go check it out, because this will be a lot of visuals for this particular podcast. But I'm going to leave up the rest to Randy Pierce. How are you, sir?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great.
And if you don't have the YouTube page, you can't see Earl.
That's very true.
You know?
That's okay.
We all need to see Earl.
Everybody needs to see Earl. And here buddy, this may be on the top 2 list of every place we've set up.
I would agree with that.
So why don't you introduce our guest?
Well, it's not time.
Oh, well, hurry up.
I mean, first I got to introduce you.
Okay.
I mean, Steve Hahn couldn't be with us today.
Yep, he's got one of those things, what do they call it?
A job.
A job, that's right.
And, Earl's retired.
Wow.
And I'm just off today, so
yeah.
It makes it work. And I don't know what you do every day.
Just pretty much it.
So I had to bring my old buddy with me, as we affectionately refer to him, Travis. Hit it. The Duke of Earl. Because he didn't like Prince Earl, so he will affectionately be known from this day forward as the Duke of Earl. Okay? And you, Mr. TJ Hall, behind the camera, are you having a good day? We're here. It's 14 degrees outside or some goofy number like that. And it snowed last night.
I did not expect it to snow last night.
I didn't either. I looked out the front window of the dealership and went, boys and girls, it's snowing.
Yeah, it was.
He called me last night and he's like, Dad, is it supposed to be snowing? I'm like, it's just supposed to be like a destiny. He's like, no, it's like snowing.
It's snowing. And, we're, I don't know what day you air this, but it's actually Tuesday in Tulsa, Oklahoma right now.
Yeah, be Sunday.
And you put it up on Sunday. Okay. And before we get into where we're at and who we got, let's talk a couple crazy things. Last week was Meekum.
Right.
And we talked about the Meekum auction.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little surprised at a couple of cars it sold.
Really?
And we can put these pictures up on Facebook.
Okay.
There was a 67 GT40 sold for right at $7 million.
My goodness.
$7 million. Now, that car actually sold. I told you they were going to sell one of Steve McQueen's Porsches.
Right, I know you talked about that.
It was the movie car from the movie Le Mans.
Right.
It's a 917 Porsche.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It is now owned by Mr. Seinfeld.
Right.
Of Jerry Seinfeld fame, because he has a very large Porsche collection. And I watched that auction on Saturday. Do you know what he was offered for that car?
Well, didn't you say he was trying to get like $25 million or some crazy number?
The folks, all the experts said $25 million was the number.
Right.
And he got to $25 million, and Mr. Seinfeld turned the offer down.
Oh, you're kidding.
He said, no, thank you. For $25 million, I'll just keep it. Brother, I'm just telling you. You can buy everything I own for $25 million. Just come get it.
You can buy everything I own for that like 100 times over.
Matter of fact, just come to my house. I'll hand you the keys and walk away. I'll take an Uber.
I'd take
for $25 million.
A fraction of it.
Wow. So, and today's the kickoff of our other favorite auction. Barrett Jackson and Scottsdale kicks off today.
Yeah, I saw you watching it.
Our guest son is out there, isn't he, John?
Is he?
Yes.
Awesome. So next time we'll talk about some of the cars that sell there. So let's do this introduction, because Earl over here, Earl's vibrating if you can't.
I know.
If you can't get close to him over here.
There's some of the coolest cars that Mr. John Neas, our guest today, has. And just coming in the room and looking at them and thinking, golly, they're restored. They all run, they crackle. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So a few weeks ago, I asked John if we could come out and do our podcast out here and take some really good film of these cars. So that's our guest today, Mr. John Neas, here in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
And he is a drag race legend.
Legend.
You can put that, John Neas, legend. You can just put that right after his name.
That'll be our thumbnail.
Legend. So, Mr. John, thank you for letting us come invade your museum.
I never have heard that legend used in conjunction with my name before.
Well, brother,
He will name you.
Yes.
You saw the Duke of Earl thing.
Matter of fact, if we had some old John Wayne Western music, we'd play it after we said John Neas, legend, like John Wayne, Carroll Shelby, and all them big names. You fit right there, my friend, especially looking around here at these fabulous cars.
But, and you have some, normally we talk about Fords. That's pretty much a lot of our show is about Ford Shelbys, all that kind of stuff. Is there one here?
Right there.
Hi, boy.
Oh, okay.
That red one over there is a Ford.
Yeah, but everything else around us looks like all Chevys to me.
Well, except for one, and I'm just going to start off the question with this. How does a man with all these Chevrolets wind up with Tom Selleck's Ferrari in the back of the building? 308 GTS, 1980. We all watched Magnum PI and saw him drive that car around everywhere. How do you get that?
Well, I was 40 years old.
So, like last year?
1980.
Okay.
And I bought my wife 2 fur coats, and I bought that for myself for Christmas.
I think you got the better end of that deal, brother.
She wore the coat the other night. I haven't driven this car in a year.
How many miles are on the
It's
car?
got 8,000.
Oh, wow.
You said 8,000?
Yeah.
That's it? Wow.
And you bought it new
Yes.
in 1980. Wow. So it's an original GTS.
Yes.
Well, that is I've already been back there taking a picture of it. It's a gorgeous car.
It's the first thing that everybody who walked in here, and look, you have beautiful cars, but the first thing everybody said when they walked in, they're like, is that Magnum's car?
That's Tom Selleck's car. And you always remember, if I'd have known that car was in here,
Yeah.
I have a Thomas Magnum Detroit Tiger hat.
Oh, do you?
I'd have wore that in here and sat down next to that
That's right.
car.
He wore that hat on all the TV shows.
He wore a Detroit Tigers hat on every one of them Magnum PI shows. And there's a new Magnum PI show, but they just messed it up, so I don't even watch that. So, Mr. John, let's just you want to start the first question, Earl?
That'd be fine. We can
You and
alternate
John
it.
are buddies. Get it, man.
So kind of let's look back, John. When, where, what were you doing? How did you get started in just automotive motorsports?
I just enjoyed it from day one. I always liked it. When I was 16, I would go up here to Tulsa races at the fairgrounds, sneak in on one end of the wooden bandstand, which burned in 58, and watch the race. They actually had 2 NASCAR races out here in 56.
Really?
And they had the convertible division, and they had the hardtop division. And one of them, they red flagged because the track was too dusty, and one of the guys finally came out and red tracked it. But they had people like Curtis Turner, Angelo Howerton, that's running a 55 Chevrolet. And I was telling Jackie Howerton about that, and he said, "Did you know that was a 4-door?" I said, "No." I said, "Dad, we were really cheap. Dad welded the back doors shut on it to make it look like a 2-door."
A 2-door.
But all the legends that you read about, Petty and so on, were racing here in those 2 races. And very few people talk about that.
Right.
But I went, every Saturday night I was out at the stock car races watching it and had friends that did it and what have you.
Well, I can imagine Richard Petty running at the fairgrounds.
Well, it's his dad.
Oh, it's his dad?
Yeah.
Lee.
He hadn't started
Lee
yet.
Petty, yeah.
Lee Petty.
Yeah.
Wow.
So adding to that, when did you get your chance to crawl in a car and race it? And what was it?
Well, mine was backstreet drag racing, and that was immediately. anything I could get my hands on.
Anything you get your hands on.
Is that like dragging like these dragsters?
No,
Oh,
it's
no.
just whatever you drove to school.
Oh, okay. I see
Yeah.
what you're saying.
In Earl's case, it'd been a horse and buggy.
Right.
I see what I mean.
Those Model Ts are pretty fast.
Giddy up.
Okay. Well, and street racing it's a lot different nowadays. You know, they call it outlaw racing.
Right.
Yeah.
And they block off streets, film it, and all that stuff.
Right.
But there's a fair amount of stuff that goes on in a couple of places around Tulsa. It's still old time street racing. Run what you brung.
Yeah, not like back then. I mean, that was every day type deal. But I'd say the first time I actually ran at the drag strip was after I went into 6 months in the Army, and when I got out, I started going to the drag strip immediately. I had a 54 Chevrolet at that time, and I won one trophy that summer. And that was because the guy across the center line was disqualified.
Hey, that's part of racing, though, right? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, rubbing's racing, dude.
Rubbin's racing.
Not generally in a dragster, but you know.
I wasn't anywhere near him.
So you kept going.
Oh,
you
yeah.
kept getting a different car a little
Yeah,
faster.
the next car I had pretty quick after that was that 57 Chevrolet right there.
Behind us.
And that car's a runner.
Hey, TJ.
Get this 57 here. That was your first drag car that was fast. I mean, really fast, right?
Yes, and it won. I ran that over 200 times, back streets and legal, and won 90% of them.
Wow.
Wow. That exact car?
Never had a record like that after that.
Yeah, this car.
Also, one of the really neat races I won with that was I drove it down to Oklahoma City in '62 for a NHRA regional race.
Okay.
And it was real easy to go ahead and enter your car, so I entered the car. And in from California was the record holder. And when I ran against them, back then you had flagmen, and they'd allow you one false start, and I took that.
Right.
And, come back to the line, and I don't know much to call him asleep or something, because 5 feet past the finish line, I had won. He was going 5 miles an hour faster than I was at that point. I mean, it was like a train going by.
Wow.
We call that, nowadays we call it, you just got treed.
Treed.
You just got
Right.
treed. He just busted you a good one
Right.
with the lights come down.
And another one that stands out in my mind was on the fairgrounds dirt track, horse track race, county fairgrounds at Carrollton, Illinois. I was going to the U.S. Nationals in '61 and stopped in a town where my aunt lived. I dropped off my great uncle with her, and anyway, struck up conversation. The guy told me about this race they had like Tuesday night. So I adjusted lifters, changed plugs, and went over there and won it. And on the takeoff, people stand on your bumper so you get traction and to jump off.
Oh, I forgot about that.
And I know the guy said, that car runs so fast, it looks like the Indians are chasing them.
So let's back up to what you just said. So if I want to race and go really fast, I make Earl stand on the bumper of my Mustang and then jump off once I take off.
Sure.
Well, what would happen there because of my size? It would do a wheelie, John.
I think at the next Shelby meet, we try that.
Let's not. There's not even a bumper on these cars, but
No.
his 57's got
That
a
one,
big old
absolutely.
piece of chrome on it.
Gorgeous car. So you acquired that car new in 57?
No, I acquired that in 1960.
Okay.
And it it came from the factory, the Corvette motor. In fact, it's still got the original block and heads. It's a 170,000 mile car.
Really?
Yeah.
But it's got one of the best restorations you'll find in the nation
It is stunning.
on it also right now.
Yeah, I slobbered on it when I walked by. That car is absolutely gorgeous. And to think that it's got almost 200,000 miles on it, and you drag race that car.
Mm-hmm.
That is
And
amazing.
every other owner that had it did too.
Right. That's
So, I know you're working on it, and you've told me the history of the black 409 Biscayne. That car was fast too, correct?
Well, I set the strip record out at North Tulsa the last day it was open, and I beat Tommy Cook's 427 Ford. And
In the 409.
he was steamed. I mean, he would tell the stock car guys, "There's no Chevrolet can beat my Ford." And all the Chevrolet guys were there on the fence that day.
Yeah.
And they were ecstatic.
Oh, I bet they were hooting and hollering and
Yeah.
yelling and screaming.
Tommy was too.
Yeah, I bet he was too. I would have been.
He
if
wasn't
I'd
cheering
been.
you on, though, since you had won.
That's right.
So that's a good point, and for the local folks that will watch this podcast, once you produce it, the first drag strip was, correct me here, was at the airport, right, John?
Well, it was at 61st and Yale.
The drag strip.
61st in
Yes.
Yale.
One block over was a airport called Commercial Airport.
Okay.
And in at least 56 and maybe 55, if you go back to that street, go one block west from Yale, you'll find it's real wide.
Uh-huh.
That's because that was a landing strip.
Oh my God!
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's right there at Fraser's Bank.
We got to go find this.
Yeah.
One day we just got to go explore
Just for
it.
the fun of it.
Absolutely.
Wow, sick. Yeah, I was just there today, doing some business at Fraser's Bank.
Americans.
Yeah, I was just up in his office at 11 o'clock today with him, but I didn't know that.
Yeah, I had no clue.
Go back there, and the width of that street goes back pretty far north. They had 3 landing strips there, if I remember the layout.
Okay.
And then in 67, they moved it out to the North Airport at 36th and Cincinnati.
36th Cincinnati. Golly, I didn't know that either.
And out there, that car held a strip record out there in C stock, the 57. And last day it was open, I set the record in A stock, ET record in A stock at that strip.
Hang on a second.
And but it was an active air strip, and sometimes they didn't get the cars stopped, and the airplanes would be coming in. And the
my
drag
gosh.
strip would be going on.
Okay, so let's go back to the story you just told. So you're at the point of, well, let's just back up. How many cars do you have in your collection here?
I would say about 20.
Okay. So you were telling Earl, the Biscayne that's over in I called it the garage, over there where you were working on it, the shop. You're actually getting it where you can get it out, street ready.
Yes, that's the intent on all the street cars in here. I used to drive them. I've taken a SR1, the copper car, on the California Mealy before, which was a 1,200-mile road trip
Right.
in Northern California. And I started to take the 56 Sebring Corvette on that too, and broke an axle on California Street, so I drove a rental car
Oh, no.
Was it a Hertz?
for the next 1,000 miles.
Hertz car.
Hey, Earl drives a rental car every day.
I know.
You know? So the copper car back here that you were talking about, you took on that tour, That one's actually run at Bonneville, correct?
No, it held a record at El Mirage.
Okay.
And the person that was his first top-end car held 99 records at Bonneville.
Wow.
And always attributed that was his first street car. The copper car is considered one of the very first high-performance Corvettes built at the factory.
Okay.
They built 6 of them to legalize the Sebring cars, which were not built at the factory. They were built in Warren, Michigan, or at Sebring, or modified. This one was from the factory. The Hallobrand magnesium wheels and spinners on that car were put on at the factory at St. Louis.
Wow.
And there's 11 other special racing options on that car.
This one's one of 6, right?
One of 6, and there's only 2 known to exist.
Oh, wow.
And it was also one of the featured cars when Corvette was a featured mark at Laguna Seca 2 years ago. There's a picture around here somewhere where it's with like the SS Corvette, the Racing Stingray Corvette, 2 of the Grand Sports, and so on. So it's in that picture.
Go ahead. I was just thinking, you talk about Grand Sport Corvette, okay? My first sales job in the 80s was at a Chevrolet dealership. And we got in an anniversary Grand Sport Corvette with the 1 stripe on the fender. And I remember the little detail guy coming to the showroom floor, and he was so proud. He tells the owner, boss, they only put 1 stripe on that car, but I was able to detail it and get it off.
Oh, no. A true story. He
That
actually
is
took it off.
That is a true
To
story.
a stripe on that
He
fender.
buffed that stripe off that car. Oh, no.
Did he get an A for effort?
Yeah.
He got something for effort, I'm just telling you. So out of all these, which one, all the cars over the years, what's your favorite?
The 57 Chevrolet.
57 Chevrolet.
Behind us.
And my wife's favorite is the white with red stripe 57 back here. That's the runner-up for the B Production Championship in 57. It won Lime Rock and Montgomery.
Right.
Placed high in a number of other races, and is the first car from the factory with those race options.
God, with that big orange cove in there.
Oh, I know. That
So
thing is just
you
cool.
were, let's kind of connect the dots here, John. So you were drag racing competitively, I would say, and on the street. When did you move over to these very rare road race cars?
I believe it was after we sold our companies, and it's time to get back into hobby, so to speak. And well, it happened really before that, because it's with the 61 Corvette that I worked with these type powertrains. I built the motors for all but one of these cars.
Oh, I did not know that. Wow.
And so I was, did the mechanical stuff and what have you, and restored that 61. I had it apart 16 years, and finally got it finished, and it kind of led, well, what do I do next? And to get into the race cars, the ones that have race histories, just made sense to me. Because you can, unless you do everything yourself, you can't restore a regular old Corvette and have any economic sense. Not that you're looking for economic sense on any of this, but on the rare stuff, you can do a good restoration and probably have a value that's equal or exceeds what you put into it. but I do it for the fun of it. I like race cars.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why I'd gravitate to the high performance.
So it's not really about what I can get for it. It's about,
No, because it's going to be up to the kids to sell one of these days.
John
It's up to them.
John just told you there's nothing in here for sale right now.
Right.
Yeah, that's correct.
Not even Magnum's car back here. It's
Depends on the pricing.
Everything has a
see
price.
that he'd sell the Ferrari. Did you see that? But he's going to keep everything else.
Yeah.
Tell us as we walk down this hall over here. Earl wouldn't let me read all the plaques. He says we don't have time for that.
We're trying to get set up.
We were trying to get
in
set
the
up.
shop here.
Tell us about these dragsters that run all the way down this hall. Did you drive these? Did you race these?
No, I was just around the people that did.
Okay.
And the person that really got me interested in it was Steve Carboni. He used to build the motors for Lloyd Stevens out here at the racetrack, and he was a California guy that's a known drag racer. Probably his most important race is burning down garlets at the 71 Nationals. Did a head job on TC and Don.
Right.
That Don didn't forgive him till after he's long gone. And but Steve actually had the Kreitz and Donovan car. He was the initial driver on it. Richard Tharp was after him, and I forget the other guy's name right now. It's like Moss or something like Bruce Moss.
Okay.
I'm getting close. But anyway, Steve got that car, and he was showing it to me, and he said, I'm going to restore this. And he said, now T.C. Lemons, that was the guy that was Kreitz's crew chief for about 30 years, and he was originally from Bixby, and a friend of mine claims that he's got the car. And they had a pissing contest between them on this.
Not car guys. Never.
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 And anyway, Steve went over and said, I did the machine work out in California on these suspension parts right here. I'm the one that did that machine work.
Right.
My fingerprints are on it. I know that this is the car. And it did check out. I mean, he had the car that he claimed he did, which is a 210-inch Don Long car. The previous Don Long car was called the Kreitz Rear and Donovan car. It's in a Garrett's museum now.
Right.
So TC probably sold light at some point. And they restored it for what it was.
Well, and the nice thing is Carbone and Kreitz are local people here
Right.
that are really legacy folks that really,
Yes.
they were good racers, good engine builders, and were able to compete at the national level
absolutely.
and win.
Yeah, that car won the last 64 car field, and they said it was the first one to do a burnout. And I know Steve was telling me about that because the funny cars had started doing it. But
Right.
but the dragsters didn't because most of them didn't have reversers yet in them. And he said they were in the truck and looked at each other, and Steve said, maybe we ought to try that. They tried it, and it worked. So everybody's did it after that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a standard feature now.
Still today.
And of course, at first, a lot of the crews, they didn't have reversers, and they'd be pushing back by hand, and every once in a while, the guy'd be dragging the brake to make it harder. Or the guys be overcome with nitro fumes.
Right.
It was good. Of course, the best was when they were push starting, like in '65 out here at the World Finals and so on. I mean, that's the way it should still be, is push starting them.
And I know right now, Earl, I know that your team just won national championship last year. And how has this drag racing changed throughout the years? I mean, from obviously we're talking, some of these older
Push start,
drags, right?
Well, push start
To
for
John's
one.
point, right?
Right.
It does. There was a lot going on to run those cars, 60s, 70s. You could do it with 2-3 guys. Now, drag racing is 7 to 10 guys, 2 computers. The fuel's controlled by the computer. The clutches are controlled by the computers. It's a whole new world. And really tripled the price of running one of those cars.
Oh, I'd say
Or
much more than that.
Yeah.
Much more than that. These cars produced around 1,500, maybe 2,000 horsepower, and they're getting 11,000 out of them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a fuel car, nitromethane fuel car.
Yes.
But is there a purist part of you that's just like, it's just not the same as getting in one of these and just, hand tightening, screwdriver to the engine, and I mean, I don't know. I just feel like the purist would be like, "Nah, you got to get in one of these and just try it."
Well, part of the events, John's gone to several of them and taken some of these cars. They go back to it's push started with a pickup or an El
we do
Camino.
that.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
Yeah.
Well, I would bet money you take some of the top drag racers in the world and put them in one of those cars over there, and they couldn't drive it.
I would believe that. I mean, first of all, you're sitting right on the engine.
The engine is in your lap.
That's a whole nother story.
And
why he changed that. Garlet's my hat I got from him 2 years ago up there at Mocan.
If one of those you head down the track and that engine comes apart, it's in your lap.
I don't know how you would survive that.
The blowers pop. Most blowers are popped quite often, and I've got a picture of Tony Nancy car with the blower about 100 feet up in the air.
Oh, wow.
On it at 1,000 feet at Bakersfield, and I know I've got a good friend, Harry Hangernade Hibbler, and there's pieces of.
Curtis introduced me. He's out there. Oh my gosh!
Everybody
his
gets a
car
nickname.
on
There's
that
a reason
tape.
why he's called Hand Grenade.
On his table. Harry's a great guy. He was publisher for Hot Rod Magazine
Right.
until
Years.
Peterson sold it. And he drove everything. And he crashed and burned and just everything.
Hey, wait, this sounds like the story that Carol used to tell us about Patterson.
Blowing up Gary Patterson at Shelby.
He said Patterson could tear up an anvil with a hammer. He has told us that at dinner more than one time.
Take a look over on a table. There's the front end of the last car that he drove. And the story on that is that he was at Orange County. He ran 240 miles an hour. The brake handle broke off.
Oh, no.
The chutes got tangled up and wouldn't stop. And got to the end of the strip, and it had just rained the night before, and the sand trap was like, it was kind of frosted over.
Right.
He hit the telephone poles at the end and kept out from going out on the interstate.
Oh, no.
And that's the nose of the car right there. I also got another picture in that his fourth run in that car is a rear engine car. I've got pictures on the wall that the fourth run, the blower is at least 75 foot in the air. The clutch housing is about 25 foot in the air. There's a clutch flying through the air. There's clutch disc going out into the crowd. I've got the clutch disc back there in the garage.
Wow.
And to go further on these cars, every one of these dragsters has significant. You can buy die cast of the actual car of six of them, and each one has tremendous history to it and personalities with it. And I'll start with this one first because it's a local car.
Yes, sir.
It's the Benny Osborne car. That's
Still alive today.
That's the first car
Benny Osmond car, yeah.
That's from Sand Springs.
Okay.
And that's the first car to win 2 world championships in HRA.
Wow.
It also beat the Mongoose at Orange County, one race for $14,000.
Oh, boy.
Now, this is in 68. $14,000 was big money because
Yeah, it was.
$1,000 is what they'd have for the top field of 8 cars
Right.
$1,000.
at a local race.
So let's talk dollar for dollar. Back, you're talking about the 60s,
I was just gonna ask.
50s. What did it cost to build a race car like that?
Some of Kreitz's early cars, and I doubt if that one was built for that. That was his next to last car. I know that Kreitz built some for $3,000.
Right.
Probably in around 64, 65.
Okay, so now let's compare, Earl. This top fuel race car you guys run,
Alcohol.
alcohol car.
Well, 18% nitro in it.
So what does it cost to put that car together to go race?
So, correct me if I'm wrong, John. Most of these cars are, 671 blowers, 671
Yes.
compressions, 671 blower.
Mm-hmm.
On Shane's car, the Man of War car, it's a 1571 blower, and the blower was $38,000, just the blower.
Right. I was reading an article that said some of these race cars, each piston is $5,000 to $10,000 to put in the motor. Is that correct?
That's probably your rod, your rotating assembly, all of it. Yeah,
Right.
That's probably $15,000 just to do the pistons and the rockers
Per piston or for
for the motor,
for the whole set?
and then you put a $38,000 blower on it.
My ignorance just came through, but I don't,
Actually, his heart just stopped there. Did you see his face?
And you change the rods and pistons after every run.
Right.
On a nitro car, every run.
How about the rods? You may use them for multiple runs, but you
It
don't
just
use
depends on how hard you're pushing her, Because your
Well-
opponent, you're just trying. Nothing's changed in that. You're just trying to get just enough ahead of him and not blow up anything and beat him.
Right.
And not blow up your own motor. But that final, when you're in the finals, and it's all bets are off, and they can crater.
And
That's not pretty.
And the cool part about these cars, there's not a computer plug-in on any of them.
There's one wire.
One wire?
Yeah, that's the shutoff for the mug.
we were looking at that 409 back there, which you have the original price tag on it. Was it $3,500? I think it was.
No, I don't
For the
think
mag?
it'd be that.
Yeah, that Mag 409. Yeah, it had a sticker on it, but I was making fun of TJ. So if you look inside, there's no air conditioning.
Oh, no air conditioning. Roll the windows down.
We should have got him good, John, and had a magneto with a few wires hanging off of it. Just say, "Hey, Randy, hold on, spin it around."
Turn
Oh,
this.
no.
Turn it.
I know better than that. Okay?
It'll light
I'm,
you up.
I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, Earl, but I'm a little smarter than that.
I
Right there.
did that in high school.
Yes.
I got tricked into it, and I've never forgotten it.
So how did they put a magneto on a horse and buggy when you were in high school, Earl?
Thank you.
So I got to ask about one more car. Tell me about this white Corvette right here.
Okay, that's the 1966 NHRA World Champion Street Eliminator.
Right.
Wow, Street Eliminator.
And it's set up with what all the car cruise guys calls as the California lean.
California lean.
Yep, higher in the front, lower in the back.
Well, that was real popular starting in about 61, 62. The 409s did that. Mm-hmm. They'd go down by 9-passenger station wagon springs with
Strong spring.
and put underneath it to get the front. My Biscayne back there has them.
Yep.
Is there a reason or is it a look?
They thought there's weight transfer.
Weight transfer. yeah.
Okay.
It's easier than getting Earl to jump up and down on the bumper,
Right.
Much easier.
and a little safer.
You notice they don't do that anymore. So,
Right.
No.
that probably wasn't a good theory.
So
Well, it's like a truck. The
So-
trucks you buy, they have a back end that comes up on.
I just saw something, John, and help me out here. This Jimmy Nix guy right behind us.
Yes,
He's an Oklahoma guy, right?
Oklahoma City.
Yep.
His parents were the largest lumber dealers in Oklahoma City, and
Okay.
they had pneumatic and parts deal through the oil patch into West Texas. They had a shop in Tulsa, but he was the type that used a Cadillac for a push car.
right.
A Cadillac.
Wow.
Very famous. Well, they actually ended up owning that drag strip, didn't they? Wasn't it Jimmy Nix Raceway?
Yes, Sand Valley.
Yeah, Sand Valley is off of Council Road
Yes.
in Oklahoma City.
Now that's one in southwest Oklahoma City, right?
Yep.
Okay, because at the same time there's another drag strip that was east of Oklahoma City. It was a real scenic place. I know I ran there. I ran both places.
Okay.
Not often, but I did.
So in all the years of racing, tell us about the coolest race you ever won.
It'd be the one in Oklahoma City,
Would it?
beating the national record holder.
Absolutely. That would absolutely.
Yeah. I had a friend with me, and that was his story for life.
The
His wife was telling that story at her viewing. He had told the story so often.
Oh my gosh.
wow. That's hilarious. And I look around in here. I don't know if any of the guys, I'm sure, have been. I lived in Nashville, Tennessee for a while, and made several trips up to Bowling Green to the museum. And the Corvette plant is now right next door, and they got a test track across the street. But there's some cool cars in that Bowling Green museum.
Right. Corvette,
But-
National Corvette Museum.
It is, but I think there's cooler cars right here.
I can guarantee
well,
you.
These three cars have all been in there multiple times.
Okay.
Is a
And
gas,
there's
the
a
gas
styling car. I've got an SR2 styling car. There's a picture of it up on the wall. Beautiful car.
Uh-huh.
It's in there. They wanted it in there 2 years ago, and they called me back last year and said, "Can we keep this another year?"
That's quite a compliment.
Is this someplace that people can come to? I mean, can if someone wanted to come and look at your cars?
Oh yeah, this is open, and we've had as many as 100 people in here at a
Yeah.
party.
Oh, really?
I know one year for the we've had parties at least 2 times during Chili Bowl.
Yeah.
First time Bob Gibson, who had won a national meet driving a fuel car, came up and he said, "I got would like to come up and see the cars." And I said, "That'd be great." And set up a time. And I said, "Do you have some guys with you?" He said, "There'll be about 5 guys with me." Over 60 people came through the door.
Yeah.
Well, that's almost 5.
That's almost fine.
That's almost 5.
Well, and sometimes, Emmett has a tour of Jack Zink stuff up there, but Jack's racing history, 2 or 3 of the cars, and 2 or 3 of them are at Indy, in that museum, but he doesn't have anything like this
Oh no.
in the Jack Zink house up there, which,
Yeah. And then another time, Bob Maravis, who went by Floyd Lippincott Jr., he's a Hall of Fame drag racer also, was here for the week. So we had about 100 people here at that time. And Bob showed up for that one, and Richard Tharp showed up.
Wow.
I do know that name.
big funny car guy.
I don't know a lot of the names, that's going to be honest with you, but
Yeah.
I know that name.
Yep.
Well, last April, we're all lined up. Funny car chaos.
Right?
67 cars all lined up. Their bodies are all propped up. And I was standing out away from our car, and I see a golf cart coming, 2 guys in it. I didn't pay much attention. And they just kept coming straight at me, John, kept coming straight at me. And I thought, do I know them? It was Richard Tharp. He had recognized me from your shop. He said, "You're one of them Tulsa guys, aren't you?" And I said, "Richard Tharp," and about 8 or 10 people went, "The Richard Tharp?" And here they come to talk to him.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a legend.
Yes.
Him and Prudhomme are joined at the hip. I had him in the Kreitz and Donovan car at Irwindale. Had Tommy Ivel in his car.
Yes.
At Irwindale, side by side, and it was kind of an awesome evening with that group.
I can't imagine.
I can't either. One last question. Who mops the floors in here?
I don't think it's ever been mopped.
Really?
This place just doesn't get dusty or dirty.
No, this is. I was just sitting here while you were talking, and TJ walked over, and I'm looking at the reflection in the floors, and I'm thinking, who mops the floors in this place? She said she does.
It hadn't been done.
No, it is just a great place. And I had no idea
I kept
it
telling
was even
him
over
this.
here.
Yeah. In fact, I've driven this.
Hey, wait,
little,
what was the event you were supposed to ask about, Earl?
The Irwindale event, which he's just come back
Okay.
from. It was the last event out there, wasn't it? You might tell us what they do at Irwindale, or they used to do, with all the cars showing up.
They have a deal called Nitro Revival,
Uh-huh.
and Steve and Cindy Gibbs put it together. Steve was competition director for NHRA for 30 years. And he started this. It's been extremely successful, but Irwindale has, quote, been sold, going to be developed, but now I think they figured out it may be a toxic waste dump underneath.
God.
oh my gosh.
So it's maybe up in there, or maybe back to being the drag strip. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Regular old poltergeist. Remember that movie where you build on the bad stuff?
Oh,
Let's back up one thing and then let you close out.
yep.
The last time Prudhomme and McEwen were here was the 50th anniversary of Tulsa Raceway Park. Fast forward to this April, McEwen passed away 2 years ago, John?
At least two.
At least two. Could be
Yeah, I
three.
think about two.
So the last weekend of April, y'all will be there. The Funny Car Chaos, the group that we run our car in, we're coming to Tulsa.
All right.
Oh,
Be
nice.
about 35 to 40 funny cars, and guess who the master of ceremonies is? Snake. He's agreed to come.
Really?
It's the track's 60th birthday, and Snake's agreed to be our master of ceremonies and sign autographs and all that stuff.
and
Be
we're
a
gonna
fun
be there.
weekend.
And we're going to be
there.
there.
Y'all can be there. Y'all
We'll be there
can
as a
podcast it.
podcaster. All right.
Yeah. Hey,
I'll
when
put
you
it on
know
the
Earl,
schedule.
you can go anywhere.
Well, we're definitely going to get more drag stuff this year. that's
Duke
for
of Earl will take you anywhere you want to go.
Well, he's part of that. I'd never been to Nitro Revival. I had no idea. Didn't know what to expect. And Greg was trying to tell me about it. You know what I mean? Not Greg. Your other son. Matt was trying to tell me about it till the red dually gave up, and then we were focused on getting to the track. But then once we got set up at the track, I'm like, oh my gosh, over 140 some cars. Unbelievable.
Wow.
It is fabulous. So that was another thing, put it on your bucket list. That was going to the revival was a bucket list thing. Yeah.
Well, we could sit here and talk all day.
Oh,
I know.
could.
This
I know.
has been incredible.
So we're going to have to jump at it. One, because I know Mr. John probably got stuff he wants to do. Sir, thank you.
Well, I'm glad y'all enjoyed it.
no, this is great.
How could you not enjoy hanging out with a legend? John Neas, drag race legend.
And road race.
Road race legend. Maybe we can talk about road racing next time. That's
Yeah.
kind of my cup of tea.
That's what he loves.
All right. Well, let's get out of here. Travis Hall, for all the gang, for TJ behind the camera, for Duke of Earl, and John Neas, the legend. I'm Randy Pierce. We'll see you down the road.